Hey, what's going on? Hope you're having a good evening so far. We got Genshin Impact once again for tonight. We're still going through the Lynette hangout event. I think did we finish the third ending yesterday? We did, didn't we? I don't know. I'm having a little trouble remembering, but I think we did. Hold on a second.
I created another universe and founded paradise. For I, Fischl, and the Prinzessin de Verirrt.
Making a little adjustment here. That and that both looks off to me.
May the glory of the Prinzessin bring light to this world.
That's good enough. The anime Breath of the Wild, yeah. Kind of. Wait, how close are we now to adventure rank 60? Oh my god, we are. What is that? I mean, we're less than 4,000 away now, I think. If I'm doing the math right. We're so close.
I created Ad Astra.
Did I originally get to this because of all the sponsor spam on YouTube? No. I actually don't even remember how I very first heard about this. I think I might have just read like a article on the internet or something. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so we must have finished. Yeah, endings reached 3 of 5. Yeah, because I haven't claimed the reward yet. Yeah. Okay, so we finished the third ending, so we've got 2 more to go. And I think, well, I don't know for sure, but I think one of them might be a pretty quick one. Yep. Okay, so truth remains submerged. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we failed that one check, remember? So we're going to have to keep repeating this until we pass that check. And it's kind of a hard check because they want you to have... They want you to draw greater than 20. So... Anyway, let's see if we can get this other ending. It might take a few tries, but hopefully it won't take too long. Okay. Let's see if we can get this. I don't know if I should... I'm not going to read through this again, because yeah, there's a good chance I'm going to have to do this several times, so I'm not going to bother reading through it.
Well, even though it didn't feel like Bernard was lying, after talking to him, I'm getting an even... We investigated so quickly that perhaps we've missed a thing or two along the way. Let me activate deduction mode and consider things again from the top. Is there still anything unresolved or strange that we should try to
Is this... I'm trying to remember. I wonder if this actually has
Bernard
anything
claims to have
to...
received a letter last night from Pierre. In the letter, Pierre
Is there something wrong with the letter? Okay, I'm trying to... I don't remember what we did last time.
If Bonnie had imitation synth in her body, then she was a liability that had to be recovered at all costs. But if she wasn't carrying anything, and thinking about it, Bernard only attracted our attention in the first place because he came to look. Could it be that the person who wrote the letter also knew nothing about Bonnie's whereabouts? The Marechaussee Phantom found Bonnie and the Lefebvre pendant at Pierre's residence. That was the beginning.
Yeah, I think we already did this, but...
Why would he leave such an obvious trail for us to follow? Well, we've discovered that Bernard is responsible for the trafficking, while Pierre deals with supplying the goods. There's no need to rush.
Now behave, and follow me to the interior.
Ow! That hurt. Ow!
Okay. Looks like we got it that time. Yeah, we failed this last time, so this... Okay, so now we should have a branch here. No, we can't let her get away. Hold it right there.
Is there something else you need from me, traveler?
Bernard and Pierre, they weren't really acting alone, were they?
Huh?
I see. It all makes sense now.
Hey, what are you talking about? Look, Even our confessed criminal here has no idea what you're saying.
Because he has been kept in the dark all along. And I assume it's the same with Pierre.
Bernard thought he was communicating with Pierre, and Pierre thought he was taking orders from Bernard. But for all this time, neither of them knew that there was a third person all along.
That never quite added up for me. Why did Pierre feel compelled to return to his home with Bonnie and the pendant, and make them so easy to find for the Marechaussee Phantom?
Any animals Pierre received from the floating barrel should have been taken directly to his base.
Both of these things are in stark contrast to his usual meticulous and vigilant behavior. There's only one reasonable explanation. He was following orders, just like Bernard. He probably received the following instructions right before the Phantom came knocking on his door. Bring the cat and the pendant, and our undercover agent will be sure to help you. Unbeknownst to him, however, the third person who wrote that letter to him had long decided to sacrifice him and Bernard to save themselves.
They instructed the two men to communicate through letters and barrels specifically so that they'd never get to meet each other.
What? You can't be serious. There was a third person involved?
If you focus only on Bernard's testimony, it's easy to believe that only Bernard and Pierre were working together. The case appeared extremely simple. Bernard did the trafficking, Pierre the imitation synth production, drugging, and stuffing.
With everything accounted for, the third person would then be cleared of all suspicion.
Wait. But that doesn't make any sense. If that's the actual truth, then as soon as Pierre is caught, he'll explain his side of the story and the third person will...
Yep, which is why the third person made sure that Pierre would never be found again. Once they had instructed Pierre to expose himself, the third person wrote to Pierre again, suggesting that everything had been taken care of, and he should take Bonnie and safely return to his base.
Then they ambushed Pierre.
Of course, Pierre's disappearance at such a sensitive time immediately made him a prime suspect. Knowing that Bonnie had last been seen with him, all the third person would have to do from that point on would be to lead the Phantom to investigate the Humane Society and get Bernard to confess the truth.
Bernard would then testify that Pierre was the one who came up with the whole plot.
Wait, so you're saying that the letter I received yesterday, the one that made me think Pierre was still alive, it was also sent by the third person?
Is that what happened? I'll get back to headquarters right away and reinvestigate this case from the top.
Not so fast.
Chevra said that assumptions can be detrimental to solving a case. Someone among us, however, has been feeding us all kinds of preconceived notions ever since our first meeting. They suggested that Pierre's disappearance was an attempt to escape the judgment of the law, and that Pierre was a scion of the Lefebvre family. But if the disappearance is truly just a cover-up for a murder, then couldn't the true scion have been an illegitimate daughter, rather than an illegitimate son?
Miss Elodie Lefebvre?
Huh?
Haven't you taken this joke a bit too far? You're right. I did let a lot of assumptions get to my head when I first started to talk to you about the case. I'll make sure to correct my behavior.
You deliberately fed us lies, but even you could not control every last detail of your plan. There was a flaw in your scheme, and something didn't quite go as planned. Getting the Marechaussee Phantom to notice Pierre was only the first part of your plan. Had they failed to take notice of the Humane Society, they could have cast a wider net. And you couldn't predict what they might possibly find if given enough time. This, of course, was the main weakness of your plan.
And once the Special Patrol and Lynette got involved, it became even harder to control the outcome of the investigation.
As someone accustomed to acting from behind the scenes, you didn't want to take the risk of personally proposing a raid on the Humane Society. So, you thought about pulling a few more strings, so all the suspicion would point towards Bernard and his society.
A great option, of course, would be to also dispose of Bonnie and leave her body at Pierre's base in anticipation of a later discovery.
Once the Phantom expanded their search, it would only be a matter of time before they found Pierre's base. If a cat last seen with the suspect turned up dead at the imitation synth base, it wouldn't be long until the Phantom would figure out exactly how she had been mistreated and turn their eyes towards the one organization that has been sending boatloads of animals out of Fontaine.
Bonnie managed to escape in the chaos.
It was probably during your ambush of Pierre. You didn't even have the time to check if she had already been stuffed full of imitation synth. Still, you soon found another opportunity. Before long, Bonnie had made her way back into the city, and even popped up on the Steambird. Like Bernard, you desperately wanted to confirm the contents of her stomach, so you hurried to find us. Unlike Bernard, however, you were hoping that Pierre did have the time to make her swallow a load of imitation synth. While investigating the suspect's cat, we unexpectedly discovered that the suspect has been smuggling imitation synth using living animals as intermediaries. That was your plan, in any case. With that, you'd have been able to lead the investigation towards the Humane Society.
But Bonnie was very lucky.
Bonnie had managed to escape before Pierre was able to stuff her full of imitation synth. That part of your plan could no longer be carried out. But as shrewd as you were, you came up with another plan right away. You manipulated the Traveler and I to help you identify Bernard as a key suspect.
You knew Lynette was investigating the case with Chevreuse.
You used the Lefebvre name as bait to get us to join your investigation. With 2 extra bodies around, the Special Patrol is sure to soon take note of the strange event of Bernard somehow having a reason to look for Pierre's cat.
So, what you're saying is, I went to all that trouble just for the chance that you might put forth the suggestion that would lead you down the wrong path.
Of course, you did far more than that. Just now at Lumidu's harbor, were you not the person who highlighted the suspicious activities of the Society?
By showing us the port's travel logs.
You even highlighted the Society's activities during your compilation of the logs, so they'd be immediately visible to anyone examining the records. Moreover, the logs contained no records of the Port Authority's activities. In other words, your activities.
And what are you trying to suggest with that?
I am insinuating that you had plenty of opportunities to transfer the raw materials for imitation synth from the harbor to a boat, and then sail over to the meeting place full of floating barrels.
Once Bernard had placed the animals in the barrels, you'd open the lids and also dump in the raw materials. As long as you did it before Pierre came for his pickup, there'd be no one the wiser.
And that's how neither the trafficker nor the manufacturer knew there was a third person who supplied the raw materials, and surreptitiously operated between them.
First, you got in touch with both parties and secured the raw materials. Then you instructed Bernard to prepare the floating barrels and the animals. After that, you slipped the raw materials into the barrels next to the animals and requested that Pierre pick up the barrels and bring them back to his base.
Pierre manufactured imitation synth using the raw materials you provided, stuffed the animals, and placed the animals back into the barrels. Having received the green light from you as Pierre, Bernard then retrieved his animals and shipped them out of Fontaine once he had received enough for a full batch. This is the truth behind your smuggling ring.
I can't believe it. I never put two and two together.
You've sure got an extremely lively imagination.
So what do you think she's going to say next?
But do you have any evidence?
But do you have any evidence?
It appears that it's quite easy to predict what you'll think or say. Then if we apply that to this case, we can also think of a few places to look for incriminating evidence. You know very well that this case will not end until Pierre is found, so you will have him commit suicide out of fear and shame to end the investigation for good. That way, you can also pin the blame for the overseas smuggling activities, the theft of the harbor's confiscated raw materials, and even the Lefebvre name on him. After all, dead men tell no tales. But you still want it to appear as if he had sent that last letter to Bernard, so you have to make sure he cannot be found until after Bernard has confessed to the authorities. To do that, you either will hide his body until you've found an appropriate time to set up a fake suicide scene, or you'll dump it someplace where it'll be hard to determine the exact time of death. Submerged in water, for instance. The location would ideally allow you to keep the body hidden for some time while also letting you keep an eye on it.
What the hell? Okay. You could also keep him in a very cool environment to be handled later. Or set a fire to make it look like he had burned himself to a crisp. An example of such a place may be somewhere in your own boat or underneath the waters near Lumideus Harbor.
There are only so many options to hide a person's time of death, after all. As long as the Phantom investigates each of the possibilities in turn, they'll surely find Pierre's remains. Especially since, as the prime suspect who will now be taken into custody, you will no longer have the time to move him, or set up a fake suicide scene to cover up the murder.
How absurd. And on what grounds will you order my arrest? Don't think for a second that your spouts of nonsense will amount to any kind of real argument. After all, I'm...
Elodie Lefebvre! As the captain of the Special Security and Surveillance Patrol, I hereby declare you as a suspect in the case. If you have any objections, you may raise them later during interrogation.
Chevreuse, Linny.
That's right. We received a message from Lumideus Harbor that you were going to investigate the Humane Society. We didn't expect to run into you at such a critical moment.
While at the harbor, we noticed something else extremely interesting. Apparently, you often used all kinds of excuses to swap your shifts. And if one were to match the times of your shifts to the activities of the Humane Society and those of certain foreign ships, they'd find them to be an exact match.
That's just a coincidence.
Yes, I'm sure you have already thought of a dozen different ways to explain away the suspicious activities, but as far as evidence goes, that should be enough to warrant taking you into custody.
Don't worry. If it turns out that the guards are still unable to find any evidence after all this, Lynette and I will do everything in our power to clear your name.
Although judging by her reaction, I assume no follow-up from us will be needed.
The Lefebvres were infamous for using disguise and infiltration to achieve their goals. Who would have thought that they would have planted someone within the guards?
Judging from the timeline, they likely arranged for you to enter the guards before the fall of the clan. But they probably didn't expect you to turn it to your advantage and use your job to save yourself during the purge.
Not only that, but you actively participated in the interrogation, arrest, and judgment of the Lefevres during their fall, thus clearing yourself of suspicion. You brutally and cruelly abandoned your allies as soon as they outlived their usefulness, just like a lizard cutting off its own tail in order to live. You've been doing this for years.
So you played me like a fool after all? Ugh!
What was that word you used? Ally? You think that someone as foolish as him is worthy to call himself my ally? They were worthless scum, all of them. Not just Bernard and Pierre, but those Lefevres too. They always just saw me as a tool. I lost all my chances of a normal life just because I was born into their lot. Not only that, but because they wanted me to become an undercover agent, they stripped me of my name, too. I had to live in constant fear of them while they were alive. And even once they were gone, I had to continue to bury my heritage and my name. Always worrying that their enemies would come knocking at the door. Do you know anything about what I've been through over all these years? My life as the last Lefevre?
There's a hint of drama in the voice of the suddenly agitated Elodie. It feels like her anger may be part of some kind of bluff.
I don't, and neither do I care.
Shit. You can save that speech for the trial.
Are you for real? Aren't you a Lefevre victim too?
Elodie, you're the only one still living under the shadow of a name.
That's enough. Keep your hands where I can see them and do not resist arrest. If you have more to say, save it for the interrogation room.
What a joke. What a joke! Hey!
What the hell? Is she getting ready to, like, blow herself up or something?
Don't come any closer.
What's that?
Know what this is? I've secretly planted loads of explosives in the Humane Society. Just one step closer and... whether they're cats, dogs, or just unlucky human employees, they'll all be blown up into smithereens.
Somehow I kind of doubt that.
Surely you bunch of goody two-shoes won't let that happen, right?
I think she's bluffing. Assist Linny in deceiving Elodie. Try to convince Elodie to surrender. Help Chevreuse to intimidate Elodie. Or launch a sneak attack on Elodie while she's distracted. I'm gonna say deception. Assist Linny. Okay. Whoa, just calm down for a minute here.
That's enough! I have nothing left to say to any of you! Gardamex, get him!
Not good. She's trying to escape. We need to end this fight as soon as possible.
Hey.
The wind knows me. As one with wind and
Zhongli didn't say his thing.
Midnight Bandit.
into the wind.
Oz, repeat.
Let the mighty be humbled.
Busted so quickly, huh? Good thing I've already bought enough time to escape. Ah!
Phew. So I was right after all. It's easier to deal with the person causing the problem than the problem itself.
And what about that device she had?
This is it. Looks like it's just a toy.
So she really was just bluffing.
Guess that's probably why she suddenly flipped and knocked out Bernard. He probably knew that there were no explosives at the society.
She also pretended like she had a villainous breakdown.
Well, given that she never even showed her face to Bernard and Pierre, I had my doubts that she'd have gone to the society in person to plant explosives.
Thank you for your help, everyone. I'll take them back for thorough questioning and find someone better to take over the Humane Society. I might need a few statements from everybody. Would you be able to come with me?
If statements are all you need, can Linny provide them on my behalf? I still need to go back and explain some things to the crew. I also had an appointment with the Traveler before we got interrupted.
You mean when you said I could stop by your place?
Ah, so you do remember. Yes, I invited you to come over to our place. Once I'm done talking with the troupe, I'll make a nice cup of tea and bring Bonnie to wait for you outside of my door.
Recharge with Lynette. Well, aren't we just getting all chummy with Lynette here?
Black tea and a cute kitty. Truly the best combo for standby mode. Want some?
A cup of tea, please.
I hope you'll like it.
About Elodie's case, are you not interested in any follow-up developments from it? Hey, what's going on, Zane? How you doing?
Not at all. Information is indeed very important, but if you were to try to collect every piece of information you come across, your efficiency would actually decrease. Plus, if you just think about it, what sounds more fun? Writing a statement or enjoying a tea party?
The tea party.
Great answer. That'd be my pick too. Had we not run into that case, we could have spent the entire day like this. But now, I'm running low on both time and energy.
With quality time, you should be able to recharge more quickly.
You're right. I can sense it. I'm recharging very quickly at the moment.
When did you start to suspect Elodie?
Something about her rubbed me the wrong way since the very beginning. But to be more precise, it was probably around the time when I saw Bonnie try to get away from her.
Bro, did you know that apparently for the Japanese dub of the new Ghostbusters movie, Marine actually did voice a character in that? After you arrested Bernard?
Elodie tried to get close, but Bonnie deliberately dodged her. Maybe Bonnie had tried to evade her before at Pierre's base. Or perhaps Bonnie just instinctively knew that she wasn't a good person.
Yeah, I just like randomly found that out from some like suggested or post on Facebook or whatever they call them. Yeah, it was actually on my feed for the Otaku Kebab page, which typically gets like VTuber and anime related posts on it anyway, so. But yeah, Marine voiced somebody in the Japanese dub for the Ghostbusters movie.
Not everyone who likes cats is a good person. But if cats like you, you're probably alright.
Fair enough.
Humans tend to overthink things, but cats rely on their instincts, and they're pretty sharp. I mean, just look at Bonnie.
Alice Pack Frames? What is that? I don't know what that is.
She took a liking to you the moment you met.
Well, there you go. Just hanging out with Lynette. Now you're gonna watch the Japanese dub of Ghostbusters. Yeah. Actually, that was kind of what the post was about. It was like a it was like a meme where like it was like some dude that was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna go see the Japanese dub of Ghostbusters," and then it's like, and then after that it shows like Marine going, "I'm in the movie," and then the guy goes, "Oh, I will absolutely go see Ghostbusters for Marine."
Ad Astra Abbott. Thank you for complete.
Yeah, ugh. I have never really cared about Ghostbusters, so whatever. I never cared for the original movie or anything. Okay, well, looks like we are done with the encounter points and all that, so I think now we'll just yeah, I mean we got one more ending we gotta get. Old ones were kind of funny.
Ad Astra.
I don't know. I watched the original like a long time ago, but we got an achievement. Have a peaceful tea party with Lynette. Okay. Oh man. Look at how close I am to adventure rank 60. It's just like 2,000 more points just about, and I will finally have reached it. Shit. I might actually reach it tomorrow, potentially. If not, it'll be the day after. Oh, all right, we're switching over to Chaos Head now. Alright. So, last stream, we just went through a few of Rimi's memories where she was getting tortured by Nozomi. Specifically, that Norose guy was, kept going into the hospital room or wherever they had her placed and saying a bunch of shit to her. So, yeah. So I think we're done with the memories now, but Takumi's still, I don't know what the deal is with the spotlight and shit. So, so yeah. Let us continue. That's enough. Just stop it. I had no idea that such a horrible past lurked on the other side of her smile. I grabbed one of the Rimi corpses and held it to my chest. It was so cold. I could tell there was no soul within. But I needed her anyway. I want you to be here for me. Damn. This kind of reminds me of, like, near the end of The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Not the Disney movie, but the actual book. when oh, spoilers if you haven't. I didn't actually read the book. I only know this because my mother read it once and she told me like what happens. But spoiler alert, Quasimodo, well, let me back up. So Esmeralda dies, and then after she's dead, Quasimodo like goes into like the grave or whatever where she's laid to rest and like hugs her corpse and shit. So yeah. That's what this kind of reminds me of. Wake up. Wake up, Rimi. She was the one person who could protect me. I knew how selfish it was, but I wanted her to protect me. I knew I didn't have any right to say this after what I'd just seen, but still, it felt like if she was with me, I could change. I could stop being such a loser. So, wake up, Rimi. Where did Rimi live? I don't think we ever found that out, did we? I don't think it ever said. The next thing I knew, I was back in the blue world. I'm blue, da boo dee da ba die. The water was rippling with tiny waves. And up from below the water came countless Rimis. All of them had closed their eyes. They were standing motionless on the water. They all started to slide above the liquid surface without moving their legs. One Rimi overlapped with another, which then overlapped with another. The Rimis were all fusing together. I watched it all happen in shock. Before too long, there were just 4 Rimis left, and then 2. And the last 2 Rimis fused and became one. Her eyes opened. She looked at me. Was this the Rimi I knew, or another one? I didn't know. I was afraid to speak. I waited for her to open her mouth. She smiled gently at me. And then she posed for me, just as she always used to do.
Rimi なんだね。
Rimi nodded, and then she gave me a big hug. I buried my face in her chest. I could feel the warmth and softness of her breasts. Gravity disappeared. Rimi and I began to float in the blue.
タクの声聞こえたよ。起きろ、リミ。お母さん。よかった。
We lay there as she held me in her arms, softly stroking my hair again and again. It felt so good, like her kindness was all around me. I felt safe, like when my mother had held me when I was young. I wanted to stay like that forever, but I had to make sure that this Rimi was the real Rimi. I lifted my head just a little to look at her.
私のために泣いてくれるの。だって泣き虫だな。
She laughed loudly. She laughed, even though her past was so terrible.
私全部思い出してる。これまで自分の心を自殺させることで消してきたたくさんのこと。でも思い出さない方がまだ楽だったかな。リミ。
She looked like she was going to cry, but then she forced herself to smile and ran her fingers through my hair.
キスしようか。
The next thing I knew, she'd grabbed my jaw and lifted up my head, and there was something warm and soft that smelled very, very good pressed up against my lips. Rimi's face was right in front of me. Her eyes were closed. I could feel her breath on me. So this was a kiss. It was so sweet and felt so good. I thought my brain would melt. This one kiss filled my heart with love for her. I knew I was a creepy otaku loser who couldn't do anything but depend on her for help. But still, I wanted everything she had. What do you mean comfortable about Taku? I closed my eyes. I tried to remember the feeling so I would never forget it. And when I opened them, we were back in my room. Rimi was lying on the floor, still holding me. Our lips slowly parted.
ただいま。
Rimi gave me a little smile. It was so cute. We stared at each other. It was really embarrassing. I didn't realize how soft a girl's body was. 3D was the best. I finally had a real girlfriend. Nobody could call me a creepy otaku loser anymore.
約束したもんね。タクを守るって。
僕を守ってくれる？
守るよ。タクも、タクミも、ナナちゃんも。
What was she talking about? She ignored my confusion and looked up at the ceiling.
前は、タクミに心を救ってもらって、今度は、タクに心を助けてもらって。だから、今度こそ、私があなたたちを守る。
I couldn't understand why she was calling me both Taku and Takumi, but if a gigalomaniac like Rimi was going to protect me, then everything would be okay. No matter what Shogun said to me, Rimi would protect me. As long as I had Rimi, I didn't need anything else.
私、頑張るね。
Hey, Bob! How you doing?
頑張って、罪滅ぼしもするし、あなたたちからの恩にも報いるから。
Atone? Was she talking about Senna and Kazupi? But that was self-defense. She couldn't blame herself for that. What I didn't understand was what she meant by both of you, though. What other person was she talking about?
だから今は、眠って、タク。
Each time she spoke, I could feel the vibrations coming from her body. Her fingers were still stroking my hair. It felt so good, and for some reason, I felt so sleepy. I felt so happy, falling asleep there in her arms. I closed my eyes. Okay, I'm back. By the way, is this shit working? I just got a notification that the stream like disconnected for a little bit, I guess. Are we good now? Are y'all, still here and everything? Yeah, so apparently that was on my end, because I got a thing on OBS saying that the stream disconnected, so... I don't think so, because, like, it happened right about the time I went to get the water, right? So... well, I'm still getting messages that it's dropping frames. Okay, hold on a sec. Let me check Task Manager and make sure we're not like... Okay, no, there shouldn't be any issues. If they're still dropping frames and shit, let me know, please. Alright, let's see. When Rimi Sakihata left the shipping container, the world was completely different than it had been before. A city of death. That was probably the best way to describe it. Several of the buildings in the vicinity had collapsed. The ones that were still standing had deep cracks in their walls.
サードメルト、これほどだなんて。
手遅れだったよ。野呂瀬源一は予定より早くノア2を本格的に稼働させた。
Wait, that's Shogun, isn't it? A boy sitting in a wheelchair appeared on the roof. Bro, this dude just like fucking comes out of nowhere. This was an old building, not built to accommodate people with disabilities. It was impossible for the boy to have gotten up here alone, but he was here anyway. Rimi didn't seem surprised to see him at all.
元の君に戻ったみたいだね。
元の私なんていないよ。どっちかっていうと、タクが望んだ私に戻ったっていう感じ。タクがそう望んでくれたことはさ、すごく嬉しかったけどね。
彼はまた理想度なしで力を使った。もう少し追い込めば覚醒できる。
タクのことはそっとしておいてあげて。
Rimi cut him off.
ノア2は私が何とかする。ナナちゃんも私が助ける。あなたも死なせないよ。
君一人じゃ野呂瀬に対抗はできない。それに前から言っているけど、君は普通に生きるべきなんだ。
タクとね、約束したんだ。
There was a fragile smile on Rimi's face as she looked up at the gloomy gray sky above her.
私がタクのこと守るって。だから行くね。ビシッ。
リミ。
Rimi walked past him and down the stairs. The boy couldn't follow her. He just sat back in his wheelchair and sighed.
自分を犠牲にするつもりなの、リミ。
Noah 2, bringer of disaster, or perhaps the creator of mankind's utopia. Rimi didn't really care which. Whichever it was, she was going to destroy it. Rimi knew where Noah 2 was. A shared awareness quietly and cleverly slipped into the human mind. It was right in front of Shibuya Station. It was in a building that had supposedly been torn down years ago. Nobody suspected a thing. Nobody went inside. Rimi opened the door to what had once been a planetarium and stepped inside. Her eyes went wide when she saw what was inside. It was a device, impossibly huge and monstrous. The room was dome-like, with the device at its center. There was a small, eerie sound that echoed throughout the huge space. It was low, like a beast's growling. The sound meant the device was online. Noah 2. Nanami Nishijo was being held right next to it. Her uniform was torn. There was a bloody bandage on her right hand, and her head was slumped forward, limp. She was terribly pale, too. Rimi was struck wordless at the sight. Like Jesus nailed to a cross. No, it wasn't a cross that held her captive. It was a terrible, almost malicious shape. All the evil in the world, all the chaos in the world, all the wickedness in the world. It was all of these things and more. Rimi quickly and cautiously looked around. There was no one else in the room but Nanami. She was looking for Genichi Norose, the man who was once her torturer and was now the leader of the Noah 2 project. But he wasn't here. She was surprised, but she decided to prioritize saving Nanami. She ran over to the strange object holding her.
Nana-chan, しっかり.
She brought Nanami down and was relieved to see she was still breathing. The first thing she had to do was get her somewhere safe. She went to help her up, but a terrible pain in her back, like something tearing through her. Rimi spat up blood. The blood fell on Nanami's clothes.
久々の再会だというのに、私には挨拶もなしですか?
She turned around, trying to hold back the pain. Genichi Norose was standing right there. In his hand was the strange object that had been holding Nanami. It was a sword. It was Genichi Norose's D-sword. And now it was stabbing into her body. Norose slowly pulled back his hand. The sharp blades of the D-sword slid through her body, cutting into her bones. Rimi arched her back and began to flail from the pain. Norose's blade left her body. Her blood poured out everywhere. All the nerves inside her were screaming. The pain threatened to make her pass out.
その娘は西条匠をおびき寄せる貴重な餌なのです。勝手に連れて行かれては困りますね。
Dude, that's all this fucking guy knows is violence. Rimi knew exactly how powerful a gigalomaniac Norose was. He'd held her for over 3 years. She couldn't beat him in a head-on fight, but she knew he wouldn't let her escape either. At least I have to get Nana out of here. The taste of blood was filling her mouth. She kept feeling a violent urge to vomit. The open wound on her back burned like it was on fire. She could barely move from the pain, and the blood just kept coming. She almost passed out. It was so cold. Her vision was going blurry. She could just barely make out the cruel smile on Norosei's face. Maybe this was the end. Rimi couldn't even imagine a situation where she'd escape alive. The only thoughts in her mind were of pure despair.
僕の力をあげるよ。
It was a voice she recognized. Takumi Nishijo, the boy who called himself Shogun. The voice was coming from far away, like telepathy. It used the same principles as mind reading, a power that only gigalomaniacs had.
僕の最後の妄想を君に。
匠。
君にこんな辛い役目を任せてしまってごめん。もう余計なことは言わない。君の意志を曲げることは無理だって分かったから。死ぬつもりなんだね。
If there was a way to get out of this alive, I would have taken it.
彼が目覚めなかった以上、僕にはどうすることもできない。だからせめて僕の最後の妄想を君に。
何言ってるの？あなたはそんなことしなくても。
Rimi screamed out to a person who wasn't even here.
君だけを死なせるわけにはいかないよ。すべての元凶は僕なんだから。
だって
もういいんだ。リミ、ノロセを殺してほしい。ノア2を破壊してほしい。僕がサポートするから。
Rimi bit her lip, wiped away her tears, and tried her best to keep herself from passing out. She real-booted her D-sword. Countless feathers fell from the sky. She raised the sword, holding Nanami in one hand. Blood was pooling at her feet. It hadn't stopped. It wasn't going to. Norosei brought his D-sword down on her. Rimi blocked with her own, making sure to keep Nanami away from the blade. But he was so much bigger than her. Her frail body couldn't handle the force of his attack. She flew backwards and collided with a wall. A crack formed in the wall of the planetarium.
わざわざ生かしておいてやったというのに、恩をあだで返すとは。またいたぶられたいのですか?
Norosei slowly began to walk toward her. There was confidence in his eyes. Rimi was no threat to him.
変態だよね。あなたって。
Rimi grinned. but her grin was stiff and frozen on her face. And then, for some reason, she swung her sword at the cracked wall behind her. The wall fell away, revealing the sky outside. It was raining. Dark clouds were hanging low above them.
逃げようとでも。
逃げないよ。でも。
Rimi sat Nanami down on the ground. She held her from behind, keeping the D-sword in one hand.
ナナちゃんは関係ないでしょ。
Rimi created a delusion, a bright blast of light. When it disappeared, her D-sword was gone, and instead, there were wings of the purest white on Nanami's back. The white wings, impossibly pure, enveloped her bloody body. She was like an angel, her appearance horrible to look at, but still beautiful. Nanami was unconscious, but the wings took flight, as if they had a will of their own. Rimi moved away from Nanami. As Norose watched, confused, Nanami flew through the hole in the planetarium wall and out into the sky around them. She glided slowly away in the rainy Shibuya sky. Rimi watched her go, unarmed.
ナナちゃん、無事でいて。
理想像を妄想によって翼としたのですか。それで君は逃げないのですか。
Norose was close enough now to kill her with the sword. A single movement of his arm would sever her head. She was watching him, however, with no fear in her eyes.
まだ逃げられないよ。あなたを殺さなきゃいけないから。
She brought a gleaming cross out from her pocket. It wasn't a cross, it was a stake, the same as the cross-shaped stakes used in the crucified murder. Rimi had just real-booted it. Norose chuckled as he looked at it.
私を殺す？そのようなおもちゃでですか。随分と舐められたものですね。
His attack was fast. The D-sword he held was bigger than he was, and it slashed open her side with a speed that was impossible according to the laws of physics. Only after her body staggered from the impact did she realize she'd been cut. She collapsed, screaming from the pain. Norose had deliberately used a less than lethal stroke. He could have killed her, but he chose not to. As she writhed on the ground in pain, he walked over to her and brought his foot down hard on her arm. Gritting her teeth and panting for breath, she stopped moving. She had no choice but to stop moving. The tip of Norose's massive D-sword was stabbed into her back, but he hadn't run her through yet.
もう一度聞かせてもらっていいでしょうか。やめませんよ。
He pressed down hard as she begged for him to stop. The tip of the blade dug even deeper into her bloody body. It was like he was pinning an insect to a block.
それで私を殺すと言いましたか？それとも私の聞き間違いでしょうか？
Rimi was lying face down on the ground. She reached forward with one arm and grabbed Norosei's leg. There was a firm resolve burning deep within her tear-stained eyes. She glared up at Norosei from below.
殺してあげる。私があなたを。
Norosei pulled out his sword and kicked her in the jaw as hard as he could. Her body rolled along the floor like a doll.
しばらく会わないうちに実に不愉快な人間になったようですね。すでに君は用済みです。利用価値があるかと思い生かしておきましたが、もういりません。
Rimi was already at death's door. She'd gotten up and was trying to crawl towards me, but with no D-sword and no ability to walk, she was as good as dead.
私に生意気な口を叩いたことを後悔しながら死んでいってください。例えばそうですね。これから30年ほど私が君に毎日拷問を施してあげましょうか。妄想の中でね。
Norosei's lips twisted. He stared at Rimi as the feathers fell around him. He formed a delusion. He held his D-sword tight. He expanded the channel to the Dirac Sea. The particles and antiparticles needed to manifest his delusion were born. Of those, he took only the former and sent them into Rimi's Sakihata's dead spots, using his gaze.
それを待ってた。
何？
In an instant, the feathers turned to eyes. Until that moment, the only eyes looking at Norosei had been Rimi's. But now, he was surrounded by 1,000 eyes, all floating in the air.
その目。誰の目？
This was the final delusion that Takumi had given her. The particles he'd created were blocked by innumerable eyes and never reached her dead spots, and then all the eyes linked with the Dirac Sea, creating antiparticles of their own. An impregnable defense against a gigalomaniac's power. Only Takumi Nishijo could create such a thing. Only a gigalomaniac with enough power to give life to an entire human being was capable of such a feat. And even then, only by using the last dying embers of his life. A monstrous delusion, given life by real booting. Norosei gasped in shock as the eyes surrounded him. Wherever he looked, there were eyes staring back at him. And more were appearing out of nowhere. Soon he saw nothing but eyes, and the eyes were getting closer. An instinctive fear took over. He clenched his jaw and began to wildly flail about his D-sword. Blood spurted from the eyes he struck, and they closed and disappeared. But behind them were more. No matter how many he destroyed, more came.
私を見るな。
それならもう一生目を開けなければいい。
Norose felt a pressure in his chest, and then a pain signal reached his brain. The eyes all disappeared, like a lifting fog. Rimi was right in front of him, and the cross-shaped stake in her hand was stabbed deep into his chest. Norose was dead. After she was sure he was gone, Rimi dropped helplessly to her knees. She was bleeding badly, and her face was pale and clammy. She was barely even conscious. Her breathing was ragged and painful. Her vision had already gone dark. She could just barely make out the eerie sounds made by the still functional Noah 2. But I'm probably going to need someone else to destroy it.
ごめんね。タク。
She whispered, her voice barely audible.
約束守れそうにないみたい。ナナちゃん助けたから。それで罪滅ぼしなんかにはならないけど助けたから。
She slowly raised her head. She couldn't see it, but the wall of the planetarium in front of her was shattered. Beyond it lay the sky. It had been raining a moment ago. But what about now? She couldn't see what color the sky was now, but she looked up at it and smiled, just a little.
あの空をあなたともう一度見たかったな。タクありがとう。
I opened the door to the base and headed outside. A beautiful blue sky spread out before me. It felt like it had been raining just a moment ago. It must have cleared up in an instant. Rimi was nowhere to be seen. She'd disappeared without a word. She'd left me once again. I'd waited a few hours, but she didn't come back. Instead, waiting outside the room for me was...
Shogun!
The wrinkled boy in the wheelchair was looking at me. He seemed almost upset, like he didn't want to be here. I dropped to the ground in fear.
君はこれから自由だよ。僕はあと1時間もしないうちに生き絶えるだろう。君に脅威を与える存在はリミが殺してくれた。
I gasped when I heard him say her name. Rimi had gone to protect me?
青井瀬名と折原梢の死体は僕が隠しておいた。七海は病院に収容された。だから君はもう自由だ。
What was he talking about? Wasn't he my enemy?
リミはリミはどこへ？リミはもう戻ってこないよ。え？それじゃあ。
With a practiced hand, he turned his wheelchair around until his back was to me. I blinked, and in the span of less than a second, he was gone. What was going on? What had happened? I heard a low rumble in the distance. I looked over toward the center of Shibuya and saw a single trail of black smoke rising up into the sky. Maybe there was an explosion? Something had happened. Something was happening. A riot? Something more supernatural? Maybe a fight between two gigalomaniacs? I was so scared. I was scared of the strange things Shogun had just said to me. I didn't want to go outside.
リミはもう戻ってこないよ。
Rimi might be there. I felt strangely calm, even though she'd left me again. It was odd, but I didn't feel like she'd betrayed me. Instead, I was sure that she was somewhere out there, all alone, doing her best for me. But Rimi, you've already done your best for so long. You've suffered so much. You don't need to suffer anymore. It's not fair. I remembered the soft feeling of her lips. I decided to go look for her. I decided to stop hiding in my room and being afraid. Things were about to change. For me and for her. Our lives were going to be different from now on. There were so many happy things, so many wonderful things waiting for us. We just had to believe.
朝一緒に学校行って、学校では休み時間にどうでもいいこと話して、お昼休みは一緒にご飯食べて、夕方一緒に帰って、帰るついでにたまにどこかのお店に寄ったりして、タクの部屋でちょっとだけおしゃべりして、それでまた明日ねって手を振って別れて、そんなのでいいなら私いくらでもしてあげるよ。そういうの結構憧れなんだ。
I understood now what Rimi had meant. How much she'd longed for that simple, normal life. Thinking back, we hadn't spent much time together at all. But the time we did spend together was fun. It made me happy. My life had been so empty, so dead, when I was all alone by myself in my room. Her smile had given me hope. She'd made me feel like a brighter future might be coming. She'd smiled for me. So from now on, it was time for Rimi to smile for herself. I refused to believe that she wasn't coming back. This wasn't just my usual refusal to accept reality. This was my resolve. The only words I'd believe were the words of the girl who'd said she'd always be there for me, Rimi. Now, it's time to go. Go, Takumi Nishijo. Bro, why are they playing this song with such a sad ending? Like, what the fuck? Man. Anima archetype end. Oh, pain. She kind of screwed it all up. Well, I mean, she did destroy Noah too, so... Man. Oh, wait, you're right. She said she was gonna leave it for somebody else, didn't she? Well, wait, then why was, why was Shogun saying he was free then? Like, he isn't free if Noah 2 is still there. Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, that is weird. Yeah, you're right. Kind of a shitty ending, huh? Hmm. Well. Alright. Probably won't stream for much longer, but, I'll go ahead and give y'all a choice here. We can either go ahead and try to unlock another route right now, or we can try and do some clip reactions. So, which one would y'all rather do? Ox votes for clips. See what Zane wants to do. Clips? Alright. I don't think I have that many saved, so I probably won't do it for very long, but alright. Oh. Okay. Doki Bird is streaming right now. Did I see that one? Okay. I don't think I have. Alright, so it looks like I've saved another clip from the Rizzing Kiara stream, so we'll start with that. I got 3 clips here, so let me switch over. Alright. Okay, I don't think we've seen this one yet, so this is Fuwamoko has negative Riz, and it's hilarious.
Bow. Bow. Bow.
Oh. 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 Hello. Wait, go back to the sensual. Goes back to the sensual Bao Bao.
Bow. Bow.
Oh.
Bow. Bow.
That does things to me.
Kiara-senpai!
No, go back
Are
to
you
the
okay?
sensual. You keep on reverting back.
Bow.
Bao Bao.
Bow. 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 Wait,
Bao Bao.
Kiara-senpai,
Yes.
how could you?
What did I
Ow!
do?
How could you do this?
What did I do?
What did You're so hot. My eyes feel dry when I look at you for too long.
I'm sorry. That's just. I feel somewhat of the same about you. How could you do this to me?
Oh, your eyes feel fuzzy. You're so hot. You make me feel like I have allergies.
Is it kafunsho?
Something. You make me feel something funny.
Funny.
Yeah.
Do I make you laugh? It seems like it. Am I funny to you? Do I amuse you?
No. But Kiara-senpai, I have a problem too.
You have a problem? What is it?
Yeah. I lost my feathers thinking about you. Will
What
you
feathers?
fly away with me?
You don't have, you don't have any feathers to begin with.
I have fluffy feathers, thank you.
Where? Show me. I don't see them. It's just fur.
Tail feathers. Like, right? Just don't touch my tail feathers. They're there. You just
No,
you don't know, okay?
No. You only have fur. Don't try to impersonate Burb. No.
Bow.
Bao Bao.
Well then.
Oh.
Are you food for the soul? Because whenever I look at you, my heart feels so full.
But then it's heart food, not soul food.
But is it soul food? And I guess that's true. I like my best. Okay then. Yeah, we didn't use any websites. Like from my heart.
You came up with it on your own?
Yeah. But
That's funny.
Kiara-senpai, do you like raisins?
Did you just say you came up with it yourself?
You like raisins?
Oh, I hate them.
Because I'm raising your children.
What? Oh, because you're raising which I thought you were gonna say the same because Nerissa, she also said a raisin pickup line. Damn, so many raisins. Oh, Fuamoko!
Hi.
Very charming, aren't ya?
I've never done this before.
Am I your type?
Well, but it's kind of scary, so. But I love you. I love you.
Oh, that hits hard.
Just now.
My heart rate may still say 43, but I think it's going up over 100.
Okay. I don't know. I don't really have any comments for
Disney
that.
Plus,
All right. Our next clip we've got here is Callie reacts to Kobo's cartwheel on HoloFest.
You think Korone will do a double flip next year? I mean, how does she go
Yeah.
up from there?
Yeah, this is exactly what I was wondering myself. I'm like, dude, she keeps trying to like top herself every year. Like, what is she gonna do next? Like a double backflip or something? Like,
See, that's the difficult part, is that she's gonna have to figure out how to go up from there. What's the next step? Every fest she's gonna have to figure out how to up the ante. Stage dive. The day when VTubers can stage dive will be a truly momentous day. Some of you guys have some crazy ideas. I did see my son's cartwheel. It was so cute because like that cartwheel was just.
Let me see that again.
Some of you guys have some crazy ideas. I did see my son's cartwheel. It was so cute because like that cartwheel was just so Kobo. Honestly. It was the most Kobo cartwheel you could do. Because she's, you know, dancing and giving it her all with her utmost energy. And she's like, I'm gonna do a cartwheel even though my legs are tired. My legs hurt. And she does it and she's got like the little wobble. It was so cute. But she did it though. She did do the cartwheel. It was so characteristic of her. It made me like her more. Almost broke her toe. Comparing herself with Korone. Gobo! What are you doing, Gobo? See, this is what I mean. Everybody's wanting to do these fun standout things, which I think is really cool. Ambitious. Let her be ambitious. Let her reach for the stars. Getting father's approval. Biju is your fave child. I don't have favorites.
Meanwhile, Mori like doesn't dance at all. She just kind of
right?
Walks around on stage and raps. Oh, dude. So I think it was yesterday. I was watching Shiori Novela's stream. She was playing that was it Stanley Parable game, and like she got to this part where like the narrator of the game was like rambling on, and so this part is like supposed to be like super meta, right? Because you're like, it's like the game provides you with a skip button, so that like the character that you are in the game can go press the skip button, and then it skips whatever the narrator is saying. And if you don't push the skip button, then the narrator just keeps looping over and over, just says the same shit over and over in a loop. And so while the narrator was rambling on, Shiori goes on a crazy long fucking ramble herself, like only Shiori can do. If you've ever watched Shiori, you know how she's like the biggest fucking yapper ever. And yeah, she just fucking, I'm just like, oh my god, this is such a Shiori moment, dude. It was funny as hell. I mean, there's probably clips of it. Anyway.
Master of Realms is a powerful...
Speaking of Shiori, our next clip is Shiori breaks instantly after starting the game.
Is beyond imagination, but you can never have a da again. How horrible is it? Wait, okay, let's think about this. Oh no, SC, okay, careful. Okay. What if I just censor this? Shh. It's a bit late? Oh, what? No, it's not a bit late. What do you mean it's a bit late? Oh man, just look up. Here's what I think. It's probably a lot of work, I feel. I think my parents never did it again after they had me, okay? I think they never had it before because like I was always at home, you know? I was always there on my computer and everything. And I never heard anything. I never heard any ghost from Christmas past. I think after me, it was like a holy Catholic Christian family. At night? What do you mean at night? But I stay up really late.
I've heard her say something like that a lot lately. She always talks about being like people being good Christians and shit. It makes me wonder it kind of makes me suspect that her parents were like real religious and shit, but she wasn't. Like Shiori might be an atheist, and like her parents were like conservative, religious, and all shit. So I mean, I don't know. It's just speculation, but kind of makes me wonder.
I should have just never did it again. Impossible. My parents are good. Well, they're purish. Actually, this one time. Oh, sorry, Papa. Thank God you don't know which channel this is. No, actually, I should have mentioned that. Memory goes to the grave, but I remember he yelled at me. But don't think I didn't forget the fucking memory, Papa. Anyway.
Bro.
What? Yeah, man. What's the other option? Okay.
Dude, I mean, just shit like that, dude. Like, she, I don't know. I think she might have had a rough, like, childhood. Like, I mean, when you're like just unprovoked, just start like yelling shit about your father. Like, yeah, dude, there must have been some shit that gone down, dude. Like, I don't know, man.
Wait.
Okay, well that was the last clip I have saved, so let me see. Let me see if I can find a clip of what I was talking about with that stream. I mean, I've already seen it, of course, but let's see if I can find Shiori Novella like ramble on. Let's see if I can find something here. No. Let me try. Let me do like Stanley Parable. Reveals the truth about. No. No, I'm not finding anything. It's a bit surprising. I would have thought somebody would have clipped it, but daily dose of Shiori.
Hey, babe.
No. Oh, wow. They haven't. Okay. I thought this channel was more active than that. Okay. The only thing I like about Shiori is that she could play the piano. I don't know, man. Shiori, she's just built different, man. Yeah, I think Shiori is like, she's eccentric. She probably had not the smoothest childhood ever. But I think she's I think it's possible that she's actually like quite intelligent. Like, like you said, I mean, she's she could play piano, so I mean, she's got musical talent. She's like she's like done projects in Unity. So I mean, she's like I don't know what exactly she's done, but apparently she's pretty fluent with Unity. Maybe daddy issues, yeah. I don't know. She's definitely an interesting person. All right, well, any other clips before I get off here? Any suggestions, or if not, I think I'll just go ahead and stop here for tonight. Looks like it's not Ririka, but it's a different member of Regloss is doing an English stream. Let's see. You got one we can watch it tomorrow? Okay.
Running Star? Ah!
This is Kanade, apparently.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I got it.
What is this game?
Okay.
Is she a good doggy? No, she is a bad doggy because she often steals sausages from the refrigerator. Let's say together. Bad doggy.
Oh, good
bad.
doggy.
Tonight you will sleep outside.
Oh, I see. That's why she's outside.
Listening. Listen carefully to a
Cute.
fragment from the book Elephant on the
Okay, well, anyway.
Love it.
We'll go ahead and end the stream off for tonight. Kanade. Oh, her English is really good. Oh, okay. Cool. Bow Bow. Oh, wait, is like Fuamoko rating her or something?
Yummy, yummy.
But her loud cries
She very嫌われてる.
Oh no, they're just saying Bow Bow because there's a dog in the game. I thought maybe like Fuamoko was rating her or something. All right. Well, so I think we're close to the end of the Lynette hangout event now. So I'm not sure we'll actually finish it tomorrow. We got one more ending, but it's like a whole other branch, so it's probably going to take at least 2 days to get through it. But yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll at least start the fifth and final ending of the Lynette hangout event tomorrow. And then we'll also go ahead and do some more route hunting on Chaos Head as well. We got two more character routes left in Chaos Head, which is ISA and Kazupi. And then there's one final route after the character routes. It's I guess it's probably the true ending of Chaos Head. So yeah, but for now we'll try to get either the ISA or the Kazupi route next. So all right, that's the plan. So thanks for tuning in tonight, guys. And yeah, I will see y'all tomorrow. The Jamie Asa. All right, I'll vet them, but I don't know, Ox. Like all the shit, I'm gonna be honest with you. All the shit you've suggested up to this point is just like weird shit that I have no desire to to react to on stream. But I will yeah, I'll vet them, and then if they're okay, we can watch them another stream. So all right, have a good night, y'all.